Thank you so much for joining, Laura. I'm really excited to share what Spirit brought through for you.
Thank you.
And I'm just going to give you a little, just break down the purpose of why I do this healing work. So basically, the reason why I channel Spirit is to help people see how interconnected everything is and to show them the power of their thoughts and how we can either choose to create out of fear or we can either choose to create out of love. And so the planet has been choosing to create mainly out of fear. That's why we have all this manipulation and, war and power and control, and it's all about money. Um, and so that's the fear vibration. And so that's that wounded masculine mind only creation. So what is happening now on the planet is I don't know if you're familiar with astrology.
Yeah.
But we're coming into that 13th sign, Ophiuchus. Are you familiar with that?
No.
So this is actually a sign that's been around since the beginning of time, like all the other signs. But this one, I think it was the Mayans or one of those ancient civilizations that basically left it out because it wasn't the time for the 13th sign, Ophiuchus, which is about healing and unity. And if you look it up, he's got the staff, the healing staff that you see often in the medical field with the two snakes and everything. So that's basically the holistic healing staff to work with your chakras, to heal all your fears and come into your empowered space. And 13, as we know in North America, in the Western culture, has been looked at as a very a number that's unlucky, but it's actually the most important number ever. It symbolizes the divine feminine energy. And we used to go by the 13 moon calendar, which is the indigenous calendar, but now we go by the sun calendar. So that's why every year and a half we have 13 moons in a year. And so basically we're bringing back that feminine teaching, that feminine wisdom, which is always in connection with spirit. And so the purpose of a reading is to teach people the power that they hold within themselves. So once they break away from their fears and they learn to trust that we are all connected, once we get into our hearts and out of the mind that's got a million fears going through it, once we get back into that interconnectedness that lies within that feminine heart energy, we can start to become conscious co-creators and create a better world. And so Spirit's really waking people up on the planet right now to start to shift the energy into the feminine, creating from the feminine heart throughout the masculine mind and get back into that yin-yang balance. So that's the purpose why I do readings. So I do bring through some things about spirit, but my main purpose is to show that I'm getting message from them, and then I'll bring through things to help you on your path. So I'm just going to share a little bit about what...
So, just my curiosity, when you do your reflection page there, do you do it the day of?
I actually do. I can do it at any time.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So once, you've allowed me, then I'll just do it when I have my time. So it's all about intentions.
Okay.
That's all it comes down to, right?
Yeah.
Setting those intentions. So you don't need to be with the person.
Okay.
To be able to receive the message.
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes too, when I've noticed, like when I'm just out and about and Spirit will give me a message to help someone, sometimes they haven't given me the permission, but I'll just ask them, I'll be like, I'm getting something, would you like to hear it, kind of thing. And sometimes I'm like, am I making this up? You know what I mean? Because a lot of times I don't know. I have to, even when I get message for myself, I'll have to research it. I'll get the guidance and, a message, and then I'll only know until it happens. You know what I mean? Or I'll have to put pieces together to figure it out.
Yeah.
But it's always bang on once you figure it out,
Yeah.
But it's helped me so much, like saved me from some really difficult situations and people that might cause harm to me. So
we've always believed in the law of attraction.
That's what this is.
That's my husband and I and the kids. We carry rocks with us.
Yes.
Where's your rocks, Connor? He's got his rocks around here somewhere. My daughter has them.
That's
It's amazing how it grounds you.
Yeah. That's what this is all about, right? And we're trying to raise out of old karmic cycles into more of what's meant for us, right? So that's the law of attraction at work, right? So that's the purpose, to break people from those fear, low vibrations to attract everything that's meant for them. So that's amazing that you guys are getting the message on that, because gemstones work. Yeah. Right? They're powerful. And they help bring in that support until you have brought it in yourself. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
And it's cool because they all have, I never understood how it worked in the beginning, but they all have a certain structure to them. So they hold a certain structure, and it's the energy that goes through them. And it has that certain structure that basically you can hold on to that within yourself. Right? Yeah. So it's pretty amazing. Okay, so I'm just going to get started. I'm just going to clear the energy. And whenever I channel, I ask for the highest and best information to help you on your journey to come into your purpose and help in the healing within, as within, so without. It helps on the planet. Okay. Okay, so the first thing I channeled when I stepped into your energy, I had grandparents on your mom's side come through. And the grandfather admired his wife. They were together what seems like a lifetime, and I was seeing her with 2 rings, which could mean they renewed their vows later in life. And then this is where it got tricky, because I couldn't tell if it was your parents or grandparents. And then they were showing me your parents, and I'm hearing one of them worked a factory or labor job, and the other had an office job like secretary. I was showing the woman in a green suit with a skirt, and showing that she loves that color. It's fresh and crisp. She has a warm yet no-nonsense approach to life. Very matter of fact, and her husband is more comical and lighthearted. I was showing the man putting his one hand on her shoulder and then surprising her with a little butt slap. This could also mean that he fully supported her ideas and the passion was always there. I was hearing that there was 3 kids and being shown always having some sort of summer getaway. It looked to be in a camper, and I was seeing a couple road trips to mountainous areas within North America. I was also shown a vision of a postcard with a mountain, moon, and campfire. Then it brought me to your current life, and I was seeing 2 big purchases this coming year for your family. A vehicle, which looks like a truck for your husband's work, which can be a partial tax write-off, and the other a property. One of the things has been talked about for a while, and the other will come as a surprise. I'm hearing something about you and your partner working together eventually. It's either been thought about or will start to come into the picture soon. It'll just start out with you helping out here and there, but there's potential to make a good amount of money. Okay. I'm also hearing that your daughter has a boyfriend or will eventually have one in her life, which will become, it's kind of like if she doesn't have it yet, it's coming in soon, and it will eventually turn into a life partner after a short split. Excellent connection. There's something she's been doing that's active. It's almost like I see her doing it in her room against a wall. Her technique is a bit off, and it's possible she could hurt her ankle or leg. It looks like wall handstands, which is great, but when she comes back down, her landing could be an issue. Your son won't marry until later in life and will have a longer journey in that department. I'm hearing something about a love of rugby, whether it's now, it will, or if it comes in later, and wanting to go further in this, which is a great idea. I'm seeing him surrounded by teammates into his 20s. I'm seeing a very nice kitchen and getting creative in the kitchen with meals. There's a dish you are trying to master and you are almost there, but by the time I give you this reading, you may have mastered it. It's something that was passed down in the family at many gatherings that you'll finally find some time to pick up. You even watched a few YouTube videos online to tweak it. I'm hearing piping hot. Maybe it's a traditional Scottish dish or European. And then as a message for your evolution, Spirit would like you to pull your energy back from certain people and keep placing it in you. Putting time into this dish is an excellent start. Once you do that, people will start to be drawn to you. Family life is great, but when it comes to friendships, pull back a bit to create more respect in that area. And I was also being shown there's someone in your life, a friend, that you need to create a little bit more healthy boundaries with. Because they're just drawing on your energy a little bit too much. And this is, going to create, when you create healthy boundaries with people, I know this has been my issue. When you create those healthy boundaries, it's kind of like teaches them that they need to rethink the way they're doing things, right? And then it also helps you to evolve as well and create more abundance in your life. So how does that resonate with you? Is there any areas that you're not sure of, or any areas that you understood?
Yeah, it connected a lot in the family perspective. So more probably the deceased, I'm thinking, than my parents. My great-grandmother and grandfather were married for quite a while, and they had that comical thing. And my great-grandmother, I think one of my memories of her is in the skirt. She was a Salvation Army Bible. What did she do? The distribution of the Bibles, the books, and everything.
Yes.
Yeah,
was it green?
I have a feeling it was green. Like I feel like I'm looking at her and I can see her in green.
Yeah.
And she passed when I was pregnant with Connor.
Okay.
Yeah, but her and my grandfather had a funny relationship that I'm sure if my grandma were to see this, she would probably have some good laughs. Yeah, definitely to see that come through. The reference of property and truck, the truck's been brought up several times.
Yeah.
I would say almost equal to actually the property. My parents have built their own house, and we have wanted to buy something to maybe try to do something similar, like a cottage.
Yes, that's what I was kind of...
Yeah, something on water, something that the kids can grow up in.
Mm-hmm.
My husband actually has been a stay-at-home dad for 3 years. He suffers from post-concussion issues and vestibular nerve.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, he's not really able to do much in the workforce, but he's very handy. So
yes.
he can do a little bit here and there, but it has to be on his own time. What he's really started to get into is stuff that grounds him, which is wood. So he started making live edge wood tables. Hasn't sold any yet, but he's really likes doing it, and it's intrigues him.
Well,
so
build it and they will come. That's basically what this was saying. Like, it will come.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he definitely has a real talent. He just hasn't even shown anyone it yet. We, other than furniture being in our house and people walk in and they're like, "Where's that from?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what was coming through, and I'll send this to you so you can go over it again, that it has a potential to make money, so.
Yeah, he needs to do something that he can do on his time and not on someone else's, because when you can't plan days you don't feel well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not a Monday to Friday job anymore.
Yeah.
Then referencing my daughter, she's actually in a relationship now. Going to be leaving this summer for 3 months.
Sorry.
So he's going to be learning.
Can you
my daughter
back a little, because it kind of skipped for a minute.
Yeah, my daughter's in a relationship now. She's about 6 months, and this summer he's going away for 3 months.
Okay.
So she's already
could be the split.
She's stressing. Yeah, she's stressing about that. She doesn't like it. but she knows it's for the better for him. He's a little bit older than her, so he's going to learn a trade.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. I have two sons. The one you see standing here with me, and another one. Owen's the more into. Well, they're both athletic, but Owen's played lacrosse many years.
Okay.
But hasn't ventured into the other sports now that with high school we thought they would be able to do other things. He's always wanted to play football.
Okay, so that could be where I was getting rugby, because I think it's similar.
Yeah, it's in ways, yeah.
Okay.
I think that, you throw a ball and you hit people.
Yeah.
It's probably what it is, right?
Yeah.
This one here stands by the fact that he will not marry for quite some time.
Oh.
Or have a girlfriend, nothing, right?
Die alone.
He will die alone.
That's so funny.
He's gonna take care of me, though, right? Right? He's quite in tune to people. He creates a lot of energy around him that people naturally just want to talk to him.
I think you were telling me about him.
Yeah, he's very
empathic, and
he doesn't even realize it. Like, people just want to talk to him, and he just doesn't understand, right?
He's a healer, that's why.
Right? You understand that, right?
Yeah.
We went to a funeral a few years back now, and Connor sat on a chair like Santa Claus and had a row of men, 70 years old, all wanting to talk to him.
That's amazing.
And he had to talk to all of them.
What do you think about that?
I honestly did not know what was going on.
Well,
He doesn't look at it like that. He's like, I'm just talking. Give me a minute. That's just what he says.
Well, people are drawn to you for a reason. You've got some wisdom in there. Right?
Yeah.
And another thing that you said that like something, I think it was with sports, you said one of us would stick with teammates into the 20s, into our 20s.
Yep.
And I was planning to buy a bigger house with my friends so we could all just sort of
hang out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Just like the YouTubers.
That's what you're manifesting, eh?
Yeah.
That sounds good.
And so now I think I'm moving on to hot dish. My grandmother has an ancient recipe, I like to call it that, but she can't find it. And it's like a childhood memory and a craving, oatmeal molasses cookies.
Ooh.
I have not looked into it, I've not started making it, but I've always wondered if I tweaked recipes or found it, would I be able to do that? Either that or I'm trying to make Chinese food. So those are the two things that kind of ring a bell.
Well, that's probably what she's saying then, just to start looking into it.
Yeah.
Right?
And then we talked about, what did we say? Hot dishes.
Cooking.
Connor loves cookies. He definitely likes making cookies. The friend I need to create space with. I have a pretty small circle now, so is this someone in my life now or could come into my life?
I'm feeling it's someone in your life now.
And is it possible to be family or?
It would be basically, I was hearing friend, but anyone that's basically taking energy, if you feel like you're being kind of like sucked dry of energy when you're around this person.
It happened. I feel like you get that every day and you just carry on, right? I don't lose sleep over it.
Yeah.
So I'll have to think about that, I think, a little bit longer.
Yeah.
What else?
Just to create boundaries. It's not that you have to, like, not have them in your life anymore, but when you feel that, just be aware of it.
Yeah.
And create those energetic boundaries.
Yeah.
Right? It could be even someone that you're around that's not completely a friend, but it's just someone that you have to be around on a day-to-day basis, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, there's always the coworkers in that perspective.
Yes.
And it doesn't necessarily mean it's even female or male, right? Yeah.
No. Yeah. So just making sure that you're creating those boundaries so they're not, taking, we're all here to teach each other.
Yeah.
Right? Through our everyday interactions.
Mm-hmm.
And being empathic, sometimes we want to take the brunt of it, but now is the time to really start to create those boundaries with people.
Yeah.
Even something that, another friend of mine, told me, like really pushed me to do, is to create those boundaries. And it can be challenging because we're like, oh no, we're fine. Like, we can handle it. We just let it go. But sometimes you got to speak up and be like, this is a boundary, and just really tell people sometimes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they just keep doing it, and it's not just to you, it'll be to everyone around them.
Yeah.
Right?
It's amazing how some people aren't aware.
Some people aren't, right?
Yeah.
And that's where, like, Spirit's really wanting people to start really being firm with boundaries.
Yep.
Because it helps speed up the healing. Because then people are like, they have to be more reflective.
I think when I'm thinking now, boundaries, I've started a process with the Durham Auxiliary Police right now. And I feel like that has created this kind of, when people put that aura around you that, oh, you're going into policing, right? It's more than just that to me. I don't look at it that way, but because I've been in uniform for so many years prior to working on Ontario Shores, I generally do miss it. Mm-hmm. So I question if I have to wonder if maybe it's that position I'm in now where I'm going to really experience it even more.
It could be.
Yeah.
100%.
You're just the light bulb's gonna go off real soon.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I'll channel things, but you're gonna know.
Yeah.
Right?
I'll let you know.
You're gonna know when it's the area that you were getting the message on. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like, even when I'm channeling, I wasn't sure if, this was a grandmother or your mother. I know personally your mother is still alive, so I wasn't sure if it was like broken up, but you'll always know all the details and how they fit together.
Yeah, I think my great grandmother, she was in the Salvation Army, and I remember going around with her, and she wore her little skirt and door to door and dropping off her pamphlets to door to door and that. And her and my great grandfather had a unique relationship. My grandma's wrote stories, and I feel like there's a story in there about a butt tap too. So it rings a bell, but I haven't fully connected to the whole intuition right now of that. But yeah, it's kind of neat to hear you say that side of it.
Yeah, that's really neat.
And
well, exciting things to come too for your family in regards to business and where it's heading. So we haven't even touched the surface of it yet because he's still learning how to work with different materials. Yeah.
And it's the not right temperature, and he doesn't have the right space to work in, so he would like to be able to buy something that can be a heated workshop.
Yep.
But that's where we came up with the idea of maybe trying to invest into a cottage at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so amazing. So I'll send you that. Yeah. And then I'm just going to do a few cards for you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do the chakra cards first.
Okay.
Are you familiar?
A little bit, yeah, because my daughter uses them.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's funny, that's the other thing. You were talking about her room and the wall. We've all switched bedrooms, and she's been painting her walls lately.
Okay.
She's not really good at it, but she's trying, and it's pretty much almost finished now.
Okay.
But she does her own like Reiki and kind of self-healing in there and that.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Has she been doing any handstands or anything like that?
Maybe a couple yoga moves. No, she's not really a handstand kind of girl, but
she used to.
No, she was never big on handstands, but yeah. I can see her doing like a downward dog or something.
I know with yoga they have some of those like headstand positions and stuff like that.
Yeah. She's always been pretty athletic. It wouldn't surprise me to see her one day in one of those positions.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Spirit was just saying, be aware of the positioning of how she lands, because some of those yoga poses when I was doing it, you know, when they get you up in the air and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have the right landing, it can be a little tricky.
Yeah.
Or someone to like spot her or something.
Yeah.
If she's wanting to do that. So the card that you got for the chakra is your third eye and seeing. So knowing that you have the ability to see truth, clarity, knowledge, and perspective. And it's basically tapping into the third eye. Mm-hmm. So, you know, our regular vision, you know, is just a basic view. But when you get into that third eye, you're seeing beyond the surface. Mm-hmm. And so Spirit's just wanting you to really trust what you're getting and don't second guess it. Right? Because it's accurate. So that's the main message for that. Do you find that you trust what you're getting?
Yeah. I have a strong intuition. I just have this theory about just give it a bit more time and the true colors will show, not to be impulsive.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when around people. Like, relationships can, you take their time to build.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to read a little quick thing from here, whatever pops out at me. Okay, so this is what's coming out. It's time to see beyond all preconceived limitations to the deeper truth within. Be present in the physical, but see beyond it, opening to a wider view of your reality. Look for the positive and the good in all people and situations, even amidst seeming imperfection. Look for the beauty in life, and it will reveal itself to you. And another thing is, too, when it talks about see beyond all preconceived limitations, so a lot of times in life we're hit with this, you know, oh, I can't do it because this is in the way, or like there's all these things in the way. So Spirit wants you to use your vision to ask and be like, show me how I can do this. Right? So really to use that power, because when we start really creating our vision, the universe will open up to bring us all the possibilities. So, you know, with anything that comes into your life, Spirit wants you to be using that ask to receive and then find kind of the vision on where to go and how to make it possible, because whatever you're getting is meant for you, and so they really want you to create it and make it a reality. And even like, you know, when you're dealing with difficult people, like I know that you're not a person that judges, so just stay in that mentality, but keep those strong boundaries without any judgment, right? Because they just, sometimes people are so unaware, right, of what they're doing, that it's not personal. It's just the way they're used to operating, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to do your angel card. And it says, so you got Ariel. It says, new psychic and spiritual experiences are changing the way you view the world and yourself. Allow your spiritual gifts to open through study, prayer, and meditation. And another thing, like prayer is just basically setting intentions, right? So you're going to basically learn how to work with it in a new way to really create more of what you truly desire. And then I've got your Surrender, Fear, and Law of Attraction Action card. And I like, you know, it's so funny because everything is the mind, you know, the power of the mind. And so I think as we get more awareness and evolve, we're starting to get to that space where we want to like reprogram these old thoughts that weren't really doing us any good. And so I always like, because we all have, there's always something, right? So that's what I love about these surrender fear cards and the law of attraction action cards, because they show us an aspect to let go of the fear and then reprogram it.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is surrender to any negative thinking, which kind of came through with that card. And it's not like you're a negative person, but just any fears that pop up with limitations, right? So you have control over your thoughts. When a negative thought surfaces, say thank you for sharing and quickly refocus on positive affirmations. And so this is the affirmation that you basically got. I want continual joyous growth. I am growth seeking being, and it is exhilarating to remember that. Expansion is not only natural, but inevitable. I love knowing that joy is simply a choice. So since my expansion is inevitable, I choose to have it in joy. And it's so funny because it's like such simple little things, but the power it holds, right?
Oh, it's interesting when you immediately relate. Like, I don't even got to think about it, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Like I left a 17-year career after having a meeting with my HR representative. I accepted a volunteer buyout, but it wasn't comfortable leaving. I was giving up benefits, the seniority and everything, but he asked me a question, and to this day, I think about it every day, is I stopped learning.
Yeah.
He's like, you can't stop learning. You need to keep learning.
Mm-hmm.
And that's today's life. So I was security and surveillance, and now I'm housekeeping and transportation.
Yeah.
But it's neat and interesting because, when you're a new person in the room again and you're the one and not getting all the shifts, or you have to work holidays, like there's a different feeling inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely something you lose touch of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. I know this is something that we often think about is, this position is more worthy than the next position, but that's not always true. And I've had people, because I do a lot of past life work too, and a lot of people that I work with are from a past life, but that lifetime, involved royalty, okay? This lifetime, we're all working in a kitchen, okay?
Yeah.
But the thing is, this one girl, she's like, we really downgraded. But energetically, it's all growth and learning. It doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
It's just about the growth and learning, So you can be in an environment where, you may think it's not as worthy as somewhere else you were, but you might learn so much more. And I can tell you, in the kitchen I'm in 5 years, I learned more than I had about all of this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
well, I find it funny because you just think you grow up with them and that's just who they are, and then you go to a different building, you're like you are a mirror image of my friend. You are a replica personality, your expressions, you are very similar to them, and they have never crossed paths. But if you think in my head, if they ever did, they would probably be lifelong friends.
Yeah.
Right?
So is that kind of like you're attracting similar types of people and experiences? Is that kind of...
Yeah, I kind of like, I feel like my circle's small, and I really haven't connected sometimes to what I feel is that, I have my husband, but I mean that other partner in my life, like my friend, I've been close sometimes, but then it feels like sometimes something happens. Like I had a friend for many years, we were together, and it was very weird sometimes. Every time we got together, like a freak storm or a blackout happened, or just really weird stuff always either prevented us from being together, or when we were together, it was like a weather-related incident. And we had a very strong misunderstanding when I gained employment at Ontario Shores, and we really haven't talked since. And it's weird to think, how did that happen? But when you start growing up and experiencing new things, it's interesting. You have to go through all of those things in a relationship, including arguing, to really see if that person is your soulmate,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think we still are in ways. We just haven't met back up again. It's just like a little split, and we just haven't connected again, right?
Yeah.
But it's fun because I see people, like, I work with, like, Vicky, and I'm like constantly like, how you doing? What's new? I gave her like a bracelet one time, like, for energy, and just talked her through some ways that we used to do coping mechanisms. But I feel for her, like, and I think about her a lot, and it's like we just not had the opportunity to connect.
Yeah.
It's kind of like crossing paths with you. I don't go out of my way to talk to you because I feel like when we do, it'll be a good conversation one time.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like I'm like, there's Tracy and I want to go spend time with Tracy. It's just not been something that I forced, or it just happened, right? I like doing things like that. And I like seeing people from afar and reading kind of their body energy and their language. I've always been that person that has also been received very well.
Mm-hmm.
I used to think it was a high clientele that we had when I was in uniform, but I was quite liked in my employment of 17 years. Now I'm at Ontario Shores, and I even still find people gravitate towards you. It's kind of like Connor.
Mm-hmm.
They just feel good talking to you and hanging out with you. A quick text message or a phone call. It's kind of nice to sit there and think that you have that ability to connect with people and also respect them too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, the judgment factor, like, we don't need to judge people, right? Especially not right now.
Mm-hmm.
I've just the anxiety in my kids right now with being locked in a house and not going anywhere or doing anything. It's not been fun for them.
Mm-hmm.
We do nightly drives just around the blocks.
Yeah.
Windows down, music on, blasting fun songs, just to be different.
Mm-hmm.
To find something fun for them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And then I just pulled one last card for you. It's the Moonology card. And it says, be bold and make the first move. And what I'm really getting at before I read from it is just really, you have such a unique personality. And so it's kind of like, just keep being you and don't change.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny because it says make the first move, and you're kind of like, I always just kind of wait for things to come into, just to kind of fall into place, right? So it could even be in regards to that. Maybe try something a little bit different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And see what happens with that. I'm going to read it, though. And sometimes Spirit wants us to do things a little bit differently every now and then, because then we're going to learn something else, right?
Yeah.
It may not be something we stick with, but there's going to be some kind of like energetic experience that helps us understand how to work with ourselves more or work with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it says, now is the time to be bold, bossy even. Take matters into your own hands. Cardinal signs are powerful and self-starting. They're determined and great at organizing. And this could also be in regards to once your husband figures everything out. Like, I feel like you're going to be doing all the organizing. And, like, all the business side of it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he'll do the creative, you'll do all the business stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, even in that regards, you could even, like, start to do that within your own life,
Mm-hmm.
with just different experiences. So then when that comes into fruition, it'll
Mm-hmm.
be like, you're so used to doing it in your daily life that it
Mm-hmm.
just kind of blends over really simply. and easily. So drawing this card strongly suggests that you're going to need to be all those things to get your ideal resolution or position in the situation you're asking about. This card may challenge you on how strongly you really want something. If you're worrying about a situation, is it a suggestion to be less passive? Instead, take an assertive stance as you steer events where you want them to go. Speak up for what you want. If you're serious about sorting things out, you may need to take the lead in some way to step up as a leader. And so the message is, I'm taking charge of my destiny. And that's another thing, like, it's great to go with the flow, right? Because we are working with the law of attraction. But then at the same time, we're also trying to manifest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we need to start, really figuring out what direction we want to head into, and then really, being more assertive in that direction. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've already started to get into more things that you're enjoying.
Yeah.
Right? So that's really good.
Yeah.
But just, it's almost like every aspect of your life, once you do it, it's all just going to come in really smoothly, because you guys are already like a conscious and aware.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you guys are already working with gemstones and healing things. So that's amazing. That just makes it so much easier, right? So now it's just really setting those intentions.
Oh, Tim has a 45 to an hour minute conversation the second he starts pulling the rocks out of his pockets. And they're his gratitude rocks, and some people look at them, and then, 5 minutes into it, they want to hear more. And they're like, you mean that works for you? And he's like, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And it needs to be talked about.
100%.
Yeah.
It's going to help so many people. So many people are suffering with mental health issues.
Yeah.
And if they learned all this holistic magic, miracles happen.
Well, we did therapy and all that for my daughter, and she just like, this isn't good. Like, I feel worse every time I leave. And I'm like, well, what about if we tried something different? So we had a hypnosis and a Reiki girl, and she walked out of there feeling on top of the world.
Yep. Same with my daughter.
This is amazing. Like, we need to keep doing this direction, right?
Yeah.
Her anxiety's a lot more right now too, just I think with COVID and her boyfriend and life situations that way, even just with us, because we're not working at all, so it's not a fun situation for us. So we're trying to find other ways that we can maybe make a bit of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely that way for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same. My daughter deals with anxiety, but after I did a past life regression on her, she it was like a flip. It helped her so much, and it's like, if only people started to work with these therapies mainstream, it's so powerful.
Yeah.
Right? Do you have any questions?
Do I get that sheet too? Because I feel like I missed some things when you were talking. I'm trying to absorb it all. I should have probably wrote some of it down just like.
I have it all written, so I'll just send you a copy of it.
Yeah.
So then you can go over it.
That was quite interesting. I'm gonna probably have to call my grandma.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to see this, Grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's good. So your family's really open to it all.
You know what? They've had some unique stories.
Mm-hmm.
You did say something about 3 children. So, like my grandmother now has 3 children. She lost a child. I don't think my great grandmother had 3 children, no. But I mean, maybe I don't know about one, right? That's kind of the older generation, or if one maybe passed in the womb, like that counts too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3 children there, but a big family, and I think we just at this point, you like hearing different stories.
Mm-hmm.
You like uniqueness. You like last night at work, you'll like this one. Security approached me because there was a phantom alarm. It wasn't an SAS. They were just like, there's like just this weird alarm. and we think it's you. And I'm like, well, it's not me, because he was just saying where it was going off, and then security was radioing where it is. And I'm like, well, I'm standing here with you by GDU, and it was in the back hall by the EVS office. So we walked back there, nothing. And the whole time you feel like someone's watching you or someone's with you. And I wasn't threatened. If anything, it was a unique feeling.
Yeah.
But then as I walked back up to switchboard, they called me. They're like, no, like, this phantom alarm is following you right now. And I'm like, well, it's probably just a spirit. They all kind of laughed at me. I'm like, you gotta believe in stuff like that. Like, why else would something, and it's not a distress, it's not an alert, it's just showing up. It says wander. The alarm was just a wander. I'm like, well, it's not the first time in my life something's happened where you're like,
yep,
that was weird.
There's been some pretty interesting stories in that place. So, yeah.
Well, it's when you work nights, right? Like, you feel it. But I've never once felt scared or upset or, like, nothing. Never once. Yeah. Like, I've always just been, like, open to it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, never once have I felt like that's not a safe space.
Yeah. Oh, same with me.
Yeah.
Very, like, I find, you know, in that spiritual space, you receive so much guidance, right? And
yeah.
so,
well, I think it's neat, too, now. They're starting to open up to the smudging at lunchtime.
And I heard one of the healers there was telling me they're going to let him put in a sweat lodge.
Yes, he got approval for that, yeah.
That's amazing.
He was trying to get that for years now.
Yeah.
Like, that's original territory, too, so it shouldn't be a hard argument, but you're going to still have the municipality that will fight back at it.
Yeah.
And say you can want to do it, but it's going to be... It'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Trish down in CGPA, she does the smudging at lunchtime. But she's surprised at how much it helps. Like, it's amazing. Like, exactly. it's we should all be doing it. Like,
well, it cleanses all those lower vibrations, right?
Well, yeah, everything. It's a grounding mechanism.
Yeah.
Like, to understand grounding, to stand in the grass with bare feet and accept that, there's a lot of science that's starting to come out, too, to support it. Mm-hmm. And still people are objective towards it. And it's funny because that's the traditional way.
Yeah.
Like, before medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And over the next 10 years, we're going to see huge shifts into that holistic direction, which is really great. So funny. I was at work. It's probably been a few weeks now. And, you know, with everything that's happening, I was really not in a very good space because coworkers were bugging me about getting the vaccine. And, you know, so I wasn't really in the best space. I was kind of concerned about different things. And so for a day, like after that, I pretty much cried silently.
Yeah.
And I said to Spirit, I said, if things are going to get better, I said, I'm always giving messages to people. Can someone that I know please come to me with a message that it's going to get better?
Yeah.
2 days later, one of my coworkers that gets messages came to me and she goes, Tracy, I had a dream about you. And she goes, I seen that you were crying so much and it was about here. I was like, oh my goodness, it's my message, like that it's going to get better, right?
Yeah.
But it's...
My husband and I have mirror image dreams.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's really actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both connect. And what's even more weird about that as a physical being, I can have a random problem and he or I will mirror image days or weeks later.
Wow.
So, random. Sore tooth.
So, like, if you're having an issue, like, physically?
Yeah. Yeah, he'll have it, too.
Oh.
Yeah. So, it could be random. And I mean, like, ingrown fingernail or an ingrown hair in the same spots on our bodies, too.
Wow.
So, it's kind of funny sometimes. I'm really like, yo, like... this just happened, and he's like, great, so mine's in 2 weeks.
That's
and it's
so
to no fail. And it's so funny, but to have very, very similar vivid dreams.
Yeah.
Has been something that's been different. Like, we're both like, that's very weird, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. You guys would have some interesting stories to share, eh?
You know what? It's kind of like sometimes I don't think we really even talk about it because we already know it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's funny to be surrounded by something that it's not like we have to have big discussions.
Yeah.
Because
It's very
it's
natural. Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes it's almost like you just want to write it on a piece of paper or put it in a journal and have like a reflection back in time because you almost forget it too, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's a different thought process, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So neat.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for letting me share your story
Yeah, thank you.
and
Yeah.
help in the healing process.
Yes, thank you.
I can't wait to see what comes of your guys' future plans and stuff. So
Well, it's kind of bang on in a way, right? Yeah.
keep me
Yeah.
updated on that.
Yeah, I will. Well, eventually, I'll send you a picture. I'll actually send you a picture now of what he's doing, and
Yeah,
you'll
I'd
see
love
what
it.
I'm talking about.
I'd love to see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Tracy. Well, I appreciate that, and then yeah. So we'll keep in tune. I seen you smelling your scents one day. I was trying to wonder what your favorite smell is.
Oh, like my essential oil?
Yeah.
What's my favorite? Is
Yeah.
that my
I
favorite?
use them a lot, and I make like little concoctions.
I have a few favorite. I use ginger a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Lavender. Oh,
I have one that smells like cookies.
oh,
That's good. Katrina always stops me. She's like, I can't believe how you smell. I'm like, yep. So I made her
you're
a couple now.
scrumptious. You smell
Yeah.
scrumptious.
Yeah. She's like, it's not the same.
So funny.
Yeah.
I love ginger or not ginger. Grapefruit and basil together.
Grapefruit and basil?
Yeah.
All right. I'll see if I can come up with a concoction for you.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Bye, Laura.
Okay. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.